It is really no secret at all that I love space games. From strategy games like Sins of a Solar Empire and Homeworld to sims like Elite and MMOs like EVE Online, I love space. So when I saw Star Conflict pop up on my nice little Steam dashboard, I knew I had to be a part of the sweet space explosion jams. So here we are in the final frontier with Star Conflict, from the guys who brought us War Thunder, a game about blowing shit up on the land, the sea, and in the air. So now that they've got space covered, we're all set to go. So Star Conflict sells itself as a space-based MMO sim action arcade awesomeness. It's really got a lot of those elements in it. I don't know if I'd call it a fully fledged MMORPG. It's more of just a fun, free-to-play arcade space shooter with a lot of stuff to do. To break it down to basics, there's 3 real modes you play in Star Conflict. You've got PvP-based missions where you blow each other up a la multiplayer, deathmatch, capture the flag, captains, whatever mode you want to play on. You've got PvE missions, which kind of act like a horde mode or objective-based missions where you fly around and blow up NPCs with a couple of buddies. And then there's the open world stuff where you can fly around kind of freely, exploring different sectors, grinding for different resources, looking for loot, etc. Within the confines of this kind of gameplay constraint, you can do all sorts of cool stuff like joining a corporation, which works basically like a clan. You can buy new ships, upgrade, improve your skills, upgrade your crew, which kind of acts as passive bonuses. All sorts of cool and interesting stuff. There is a lot of depth to be had here, as the systems allow for different configurations, even within the same ship, be it weapons, be it shields, be it different defensive or passive systems. There's a lot to going on here. There's really a huge variety of how you can play this game. Do you want to be a slow, weak sniper that sits at the back of the pack and annihilates ships in a single blast? Or do you want to be a big guard fighter up in the front lines? Or do you want to be a zippy little interceptor that nobody can fucking lock onto that's so frustrating because he just circles you and then gets right back behind you and then he just shoots you a whole bunch with his plasma cannons and you're just like, oh god, help me! But all the rest of your allies are the other point? Sorry. And if you just want to come into Star Conflict and blow shit up, you can do that. The session-based multiplayer allows you to just kind of jump into matches. And ships come in different classes, which also fill different roles within the fight. Interceptors are small, quick objective takers and hunter-killers. You've got medium-sized fighters, which can provide a pretty good fight and lay down some heavy fire. Or the huge frigates, which sit in the back, provide heavy defense, or just engineering support to the rest of the fleet. And what ship you pick determines how well you fight and what kind of situations you want to put yourself in. And as you move up through various tiers, which represent the technological strength of your ship, new customization options tend to open up along the way, allowing you to customize your ships to a greater degree to focus on a different type of enemy. All of this works really well in favor of the game's combat. No matter if you're shooting players or NPCs or whatever, the game's combat is actually genuinely really fun. It's really great to chase someone down and blow them away with your guns. There's a lot of visceral feeling to it. No matter what role you're playing, whether it's a large frigate or a tiny interceptor, you're generally having a lot of fun. Now, not all of this is hunky-dory, cheery happiness. The open-world aspects of the game feel kind of hollow and designed for grind and hunting down special loot. It doesn't really feel very full-fledged compared to games like Elite or games like the eventually never actually coming out Star Citizen. You can find yourself in a really nasty situation in combat where there's some imbalances. If the player count is low enough, it'll take players from other tiers occasionally. I've only ever seen this happen once, but it is a possibility. And if you want to get into top-tier activities like sector control and big fights in top-tier vessels, it looks like it's genuinely going to require a good amount of time and effort, unless you want to buy your way there. Which brings me to the game's free-to-play model. It's not a bad one, actually. I don't particularly dislike it. The game's free-to-play currency is Galactic Standards, and you utilize that to purchase things that require other types of currency, such as reputations, or special items that can provide an upgrade to your ship faster than if you were to grind for it normally. The nice thing about it is there is a currency exchange from the standard currency of the game, the credit, into the Galactic Standards, which you, of course, normally have to buy, which is good. And the exchange rate isn't terrible. A couple of million credits, you could probably earn that in an afternoon, and converts over to a couple of thousand standards, which is enough to buy some of the nicer ships. So, it's not that bad. I don't dislike it. There are a few things that you can only purchase for Galactic Standards. Some of these are ships, and the only big thing about these is these ships automatically come in at max level, whereas the standard ship that you purchase, you have to level it up a couple of times. And sometimes leveling these ships up can take a solid amount of time, and there is a tangible difference between levels, so that could be dangerous. But other than that, it feels similar to War Thunder or MechWarrior Online in terms of its free-to-play system. Mostly cosmetic, and mostly in terms of speeding things up. There are various factions, I believe 9 total, which you can earn reputation in, which allow you to purchase special modules. Now, these factions, you can earn reputation in them through completing contracts, which are things like kill 15 ships, or complete a specific mission. Nothing too intense, and things you can just kind of repeat over and over again and do, which gives you that reputation, money, and even sometimes a little bit of galactic standards. In addition to purchasing galactic standards, you can also purchase a license with them, which increases your general currency generation for a period of time. It's not too big a difference. It does show the amount of currency you would have normally earned, as well as the amount that you would earn as a licensed pilot as well, which is generally about 50% more. And you get a couple of extra chances to loot, which is a RNG system for determining what you get after a battle. There's nothing too dangerous here, nothing too insidious that I don't like, beyond the ships that you purchase at max level and don't have to level up. All in all, Star Conflict is a genuinely fun game to play. The PvE and PvP missions are a joy, and blowing people up is super satisfying. The open world is kind of hollow and empty, and feels more like it's there as just kind of because it has to be. And things like the upgrade system can become tedious over time, and take a lot of work if you're not looking to put in any money. But overall, as just a sit down and play game, Star Conflict, pretty fun. Pretty goddamn fun. And I love blowing shit up in space. It's space explode. Thanks again for watching these videos here at the Orange Hatter. I have been your host, the Orangest of Hatters. And I want to just take a second to say I appreciate you watching this video. If you enjoyed it, I hope you like, subscribe, and all that good stuff. And if you have something to say, shoot me a comment. I like to respond to as many as I possibly can. So, yeah, it makes me happy. One thing I'm going to say right now, though, is you look down to the south here. That's not my video. Actually, I was on a podcast this past weekend with the Heroes Hideout with a bunch of other awesome YouTubers and streamers, and I wanted to give them a quick shout-out and say you should check it out. We had a great time talking about some really crazy stuff. Also, not safe for work. Also, my whole videos are not safe for work, but yeah, it's good. But thank you again for watching these videos. I really appreciate it, and I hope that you have a great one.